Story time. Today's genre: horror. Blonde hair, brown hair, orange fire, white snow, white dress, red dress, burnt flesh, final blow.
I knew what she was doing, using her womanly ways to get under my skin and rip my promotion right out from under me. And well, I decided to show her how it's done. I wanted to woo her, or at least make a friend out of a rival. I wore a beautiful red satin gown with a high vertical slit to show off my legs, red stiletto heels to match, and my nails painted and manicured to the gods. A gentle rouge of red was on my cheeks, and black mascara and eyeliner with a matching red eyeshadow was blended in a gradient of red into black, ending at the edges of my eyelids just before the line of wings that were sharp enough to kill. I wore my wavy brunette hair down and draped it seductively over one of my shoulders, and lastly, I made my foundation look flawless before doing some light contouring to complete the look. With my makeup set, I was now ready to greet my guest. I put on some relaxing parlor music and lit the fireplace. She was running a bit late, so I grabbed some refreshments in the meantime and prepared us some hot chocolate and cookies. Eventually she had arrived, and I welcomed her into my home. She looked ravishing. Not as good as I did, but still quite beautiful. The blonde bombshell in white greeted the lady in red and chatted over some hot chocolate and cookies. I had hoped the conversation would be friendly, or maybe even romantic, but she decided to blackmail me. She had photographs of me in scandalous poses, leaving little to the imagination, and threatened to reveal them to our boss if I didn't stay out of her way. Apparently, she viewed me as a threat. I was speechless. I knew she was a rival, but I thought that perhaps it was because she loved me. I thought our workplace interactions were flirting with banter or a bully with a crush, not a cutthroat competition. I asked how she had these photos of me, but she refused to reveal her sources. I wanted to cry, but I kept a strong face and touched up the slight damage to my mascara. Those stalker photos would ruin me, but I had to stay strong. The cold winds blew outside and a blizzard formed out of nowhere, as if Mother Nature was giving me permission to do what I needed to do. I moved the safeguard away from the fireplace while remaining alert and tossed a couple more logs into the fire. As I turned around, I darted towards the photos on the table, and she pushed me away, almost knocking me to the ground. As the roaring winds grew louder and the falling snow removed all visibility and ambient sound outside, as I recovered from her assault, I rushed towards the photos again, but this time I sidestepped past her and grabbed 2 fistfuls of the back of her hair. She screamed as I threw her to the ground, smashed her face into my living room carpet, the blood from her broken nose staining her white dress, while matching my own. She flailed about, desperately clawing at me, while spewing words of rage and hatred as she got back to her feet. And that was the final straw. I got all dressed up for her. I welcomed her into my home and showed her nothing but kindness. And how did she thank me? Blackmail and physical assault, forcing me to defend myself in my own home. And to add insult to injury, she screamed obscenities at me and called me several slurs and atrocities regarding my sexuality. As the roaring in my ears matched the roaring outside in intensity, I had finally snapped. I punched her square in the jaw in a way that was conscious of my nails and sent her reeling backwards. Then I used her backward momentum to push her into my fireplace. She screamed in deserved agony as I burned her alive. And before the bitch could claw her way back out, I forced her in even further with the fire poker and pushed the safeguard back in place before collapsing onto my settee, completely exhausted now that the adrenaline was wearing off. The wind outside grew even louder as her suffering screams were finally burned away. And once her life was surely gone, I made my way back to the table, grabbed the photos, and added them to the fire as well. Now disheveled, in a calm and silent rage, and somewhat heartbroken, I continued to finish my cup of hot chocolate as the winds were starting to calm down, and as I stared into the flames with a cold sense of contemplation, as my mind replayed the series of passionate events that had just transpired.